wanted something to, you know, show my love for racing in general and cars, and you know, I was 19 and I don't regret it, but you know.
Who knew that down the road that you were going to end
Yeah,
up?
exactly.
Talk a little bit about this great opportunity you have and to go full-time in the trucks and what that means for you. I'm sure a certain amount of accomplishment that you're feeling personally to be able to step
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely thrilled, obviously, that we got to make the announcement to be driving for Reaume Brothers next year full-time. I mean, my plans for this year definitely changed from what we thought it was going to be. And, you know, being part-time is not easy, right? It's hard to watch, but it's also hard knowing that I just need experience to play catch-up to all the people who I'm competing against. And to be out of the car or the truck, you know, as much as I was this year, it was tough. So I was super excited to get my deal done early. We've known that I was going to sign with them for a while now, and be able to announce it to where I'm literally like starting today is prepping for next year. You know what I mean? And to even as like for my wife and for my life and my son to know like here's where we're going to be when, it just makes it so nice to be able to plan ahead.
And do you live in the Charlotte area now, or how does this affect the greater?
Yeah, I live in Scottsdale, Arizona. I will be based out of Charlotte during the season next year. That's the plan, and you know, I want to put myself into every situation I can to be better as a race car driver. So if that's spending more time with the team, if that's, you know, going over stuff with engineers and watching past races and with my spotter and being in the simulator that I'm lucky enough that Ford really gives me a lot of access to. Great, let's do it. So, you know, going back and forth is not easy. You know what I mean? I just want to fully immerse myself in being a NASCAR driver, and the best way to do that is to really be by the team in Charlotte.
What kept you going this year when you didn't have as much of the opportunities as you hoped? And at your age, it'd be easy to say, you know, maybe this.
Yeah, it was definitely hard. You know what I mean? Especially the races that we did do weren't great. Like, right, we had a lot of either bad luck or I just wasn't good. Like in Phoenix this year, I was awful. You know what I mean? So I take it to heart because like I want to be out there. I want to prove that I can do it. But like, how can I even prove it to myself if I'm not out there doing it? It's hard on my family because like this year we thought it was going to be one thing and it wasn't. So there's a lot of me being, I don't want to say upset, but you know, like just down days of just thinking like, man, I was going to do this, or I thought I was going to be here, or the plan changing so much to where like maybe I shouldn't say this. My wife went to Italy by herself this year. You know what I mean? Because I couldn't commit to going with her because I needed to be available for if something happened that we thought was going to happen and didn't happen. You know, so I want to be a better husband for her. You know, one reason I said I went racing in general was to be an inspiration for my son. But if I'm not doing that, you know, what am I doing? So that's why it was really important for me to start focusing on 2025. You know, and kind of get everything shored up and just so I don't want to be thinking about where I'm going to be next week because it takes away from focusing on where you are right then. And, you know, fortunately, I don't have to do that next year.
Did you ever consider, well, maybe this, you know, kind of to Dustin's point, did you ever think maybe this isn't going to be the way to go after all?
I mean, I'm definitely not a quitter. You know, I only think I jumped into stock cars for the first time last year. And I want to be able to look back at this experience, good or bad, whatever it is, and feel like I tried my best. Right? I gave it a fair shot. You know, I don't want to do it. I wonder if I did one more season. Or I wonder if I kept going. Like, what could we have done? You know, and so that's, you know, if you ask me what my plan is for 2026, I couldn't tell you. Right? Obviously, I really want to give next year a full-blown effort and see, you know, where we stack up and make decisions based on what I'm going to do after that. After we see where we do.
You tweeted during the summer you got sick. Like,
yeah.
Did that impact how like what you were planning on doing on the track?
Not necessarily. No, I got really sick. I was sick for almost 6 weeks, like literally in bed, like lost 30 pounds. It was bad. I got some crazy parasite in Mexico, so I'm not going there anytime soon. But no, it didn't, to be honest. You know, I was supposed to be full-time this year. And then when that happened, I was going to do 10 races in Xfinity and a bunch of truck races. And it just kept evolving, you know, just kind of with the situations I had. It's tough because, you know, I'm so grateful to be a Ford driver, but there's not a ton of seats, right? And obviously mid-season, they're full, you know, so where do you go? What do you do? And trying to figure that out, but still keeping, you know, at least doing enough races to keep me used to it. So if the opportunity does come up, I can do it. And it it's hard to watch. It's really hard to watch on TV as a driver, right? You want to be out there competing, and especially for me, like I said, I want to keep learning. I know I've said that now for 2 years. I said it last year in ARCA, but I still have so much that I need to experience for the first time, and that's really the goal for these last 2 races, right? I'm doing Miami, I'm doing Phoenix. You know, not that we're using it as a test session, but we're using it to gel with as a team, and them figure out what I need or me figure out what I need, put myself in situations for the first time with these drivers, and just be better prepared. So when we show up to Daytona, we're head down and trying to be as competitive as possible.
Have you thought about goals for next season at all?
I think, I want to. I think a realistic goal. I don't want to obviously as a race car driver, I say I want to win. I want to be. I want to be the best, but realistic, the series is tough. There's a lot of good drivers, a lot of good teams, but I think if we can consistently be in the top 20, that would be a huge achievement for us. I know that Josh Reaume is ultra motivated, and that's what I really love about him. There's some teams that you talk to that are kind of not stuck in their ways, but just accept where they are. He's not that at all. He wants to, bring the team to be the highest level it can possibly be. And, I think what I can bring to that is my relationship with Ford. They're now going to be an actual Ford team and get the support from Ford as a manufacturer, which is going to in itself help the performance and the access that we get to all that stuff. So I'm excited to help build the team with them. And, I know they're excited to have me. So I think we're going to work really well together.
What do you look at this year that you do feel really proud of? What would you say, I did it, that was a learning moment, and I can build
as a driver?
Yeah.
I don't want to sound negative, but I've tried to forget most of what I did this year, to be honest. Just being 100% honest, there was nothing I can say, well, that was good, or that built my confidence. I mean, the truck races I did, I feel really good with, even though we didn't have the result we wanted. We had a puncture literally behind the pace car in Kansas, literally went down 2 laps before the race basically started, So I haven't felt like I've gotten the opportunity to even try to race with people. I'm on my own lap, you know what I mean? Just try not to wreck anybody, you know what I mean? It's a weird mindset to be in, but at the same time, I take those experiences and the speed that we did have when we were running, and all that, and go, okay, I can do this. You know what I mean? I can compete with these guys. Obviously, need to get better at qualifying. The single lap qualifying thing, I've never been so nervous in my life. The fact that you have to perform in that one moment, you know what I mean? You don't get in ARCA, you had a 20-minute session, but we'd always go out and I do 2 laps. You know what I mean? I know in my mind you have another try. You know what I mean? So getting better at that, and so just pit stops, weird things like that I just haven't experienced much to be ready for next season. I guess the positive to bring is that I did go to Josh and get that first try in the truck in Nashville, and realize I love it, and now I know what I'm doing next year. So I guess that's the positive.
Do you feel are you 100% now from the summer, or do you
Oh, I'm 100%. I'm 100%. No effects from being sick anymore. Just ready to put my head down and go fast.
So does this, since you're doing full-time, I know there's still gaps in the schedule, does this close the window on acting? Because when you were doing the ARCA, you talked about, was it last year?
Yeah.
You had that big window and you went and did
I did a movie, yeah.
So
That movie's now, I think, I'm not supposed to be making an announcement about it, but I think it's coming out the week before Daytona, is what I heard. So it's kind of going to be interesting. And no, my focus is 100% being a race car driver. You know what I mean? There are gaps, there are things but I'm not trying to fill them with other things. Obviously you don't know what's going to happen. As an actor, you don't know what opportunity may come up where you go, hey, it's a week. We have 3 weeks off. Yeah, let me do it. So I'm not closing the door 100% to it, but I don't want people to to think oh, I'm just doing this part-time. I'm just doing it as a hobby. I'm kind of doing it on the side. No, those 3 weeks are going to be used to prep for the next 6 races that are in a row or whatever it may be. So that's the focus.
I'm sure that's important too to you to do that, to establish that, because you want to be the race car driver who acts sometime versus an actor who drives.
Well, when you are competing against everyone out there, this is their lives. This is everyone in the truck series, if they're trying to make it to Xfinity, they're trying to make it to Cup Series, they are dedicating every waking moment to being the best driver they can be. So how could I think that I can come in and do it halfway?
At 39.
At 39. You can't. You know what I mean? Especially, I think this weekend is my 25th oval race of my life, right? So I didn't grow up racing late models or stock, stock car, have tons of experience. So like I'm even have to focus even more on learning and improving just to catch up. So that's my focus. That's my goal. And I say, like, I don't want people to just hear that I'm a race car driver, or me to just say that I'm a race car driver, or say I'm a race car driver. I want people to believe it. And the only way to get them to believe it is to go out there and do it and impress. Like acting, racing is not subjective, right? You're either at the top of the leaderboard or you're not, so you can kind of see where you stand and see what you need to work on. And that's what I'm going to do.
Has it been more difficult than you thought to like land sponsorship for racing? I mean, I saw you had the airline ad that I that I don't see that on the cars. I assume that's totally separate, right?
Yeah, I think what's surprising is there's a lot of big brands on race cars, right? One thing and this is nothing against it, but a lot of companies you see on a lot of cars are family members or dads or friends, companies and stuff like that. I would say it has surprised me. I mean, even this week with the announcement, like I didn't know how well it would be received, but it kind of went everywhere. You know what I mean? Like I was watching SportsCenter and they were talking about me, joining the Truck Series. Like, so great in the sense that maybe it's getting eyeballs to the series that don't watch, and I hope so. But at that same time, I go, my phone isn't ringing off the hook with potential sponsors. We still have to, like, that's part of the job. Like, you're constantly searching for money. Like that's I would say 90% of being a race car driver is finding funding to continue to do it. So that said, like we're great for next year. Obviously, we would love to add more partners because then I could just do more races. I could add ARCA races. We can do other things just to keep getting as much experience as possible, and that's our goal as a team.
And there's got to be a big Malcolm fan out there.
I'm sure Elon Musk watched. I thought SpaceX truck would look really good. I don't know. Yeah, it is. It's that's a lot of it is relationships and finding someone who believes in what you're trying to do. And that's what we're trying to tell the story of what we're trying to achieve and what we could offer to them, right? It's got to be a win-win for everybody, right? And that's what we try to do as a team, and me as a driver, to make sure that they're not just writing a check and it's having me go racing, that they're actually benefiting from what we're doing on the racetrack.